Welcome to the Crusade Cast. Our wonderful subject for tonight is dating and marriage in the modern age. So, we're going to be kicking this off with dating. Is it worth dating? And if so, let's find out the reasons why. So, Craven, I'm going to kick it off to you. What do you think? Is it worth for the modern folks to date, at least younger folks? I mean, older folks are from a different generation, but is it really worth it in our generation?
Marriage or dating?
Let's do both. Well, let's start with dating first, but give me your reasoning for both. If yes to dating, then move on to marriage too.
Okay. So I got a little. It's a bridge. So with dating, particularly, we'll start with dating for men, and then we'll split it by gender. In my opinion, I think dating for both genders is still worth it. Mostly due to the fact that anthropologically, we're primates. We're social creatures, and the most of us are anyway. Um, Not many of us. I say it all the time. I'm a cabin in the woods kind of guy. And I mean that, but that's the exception to the rule. Most people want, want someone there. There's a social aspect to it, not just, dating in itself. So I think it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. And I think most people should do it to date the right way. Obviously not serial monogamy and hide it under the guise of dating. As far as marriage goes, um, I think for women, it's worth it. I think for men, it's only worth it if you're looking to have kids. Um,
And
at
that's,
least in this country, it, it's just because of the laws and everything that can be done. It's it's heavily unfavorable towards men, and it's heavily unfavorable towards picking the wrong woman. Um, it provides the government and everything else provides an incentive for women to walk out on the marriage, and there's plenty of shows that kind of do that, that kind
yeah.
of go over that point for you. But I think there's no mystery now as to the shit end of the stick that men get in marriage nowadays.
Yeah. I kind of get that. So you're saying that marriage realistically, at least for, in your opinion, for the modern day, is really only worth it if you're talking about marriage, correct? Or if you're talking about having kids.
Yeah, for the man's side, it's only marriage is the only thing worth it. Is only worth it if you're looking to have kids, and even then, you can make the case it's not. That's purely from a upbringing and financial issues. Right now, it's difficult to have a single income to kind of do everything. We just lost LJ, but it's difficult in that aspect. On top of the fact that it's difficult in that aspect, you still also have all the issues that you would normally have in a marriage between a woman and a man
Yeah.
with a kid. But if you're looking to have kids, the structure between the man and the woman, or partner in this case, um, would be beneficial to get married, even as the man. But if you're not looking to have kids as a man, I would shy away from marriage.
I mean, that's fair. Let's go ahead and move it to LJ. I'll give you guys my take in a minute.
No,
LJ,
no,
what
no.
do you
You
think?
go. I'm gonna let y'all go first because y'all the married ones. I ain't married yet, so I'd rather hear y'all views before I say them.
Um, my point of view, a lot of people are not gonna like, but the honest truth when it comes to me is, I am with Craven when it comes to having kids, and I'm kind of torn because the truth is, I see marriage start out, and Craven knows this. It started out as it's a covenant that you took before God. So to me,
Mm.
it's really worth it if you're religious, if you really believe in Jesus Christ, then it's worth getting married because the whole purpose is to take the covenant before God, before Christ. And it's a lifelong covenant. So to me, I don't encourage people who are not religious, but people who don't believe in Christ. I don't really encourage it because that's what marriage really was. That's kind of what they did, and because the founding fathers were Christians, that's why they implemented marriage. So to me, the government should be completely out of marriage, and marriage should be really only an institute from the religious aspect. But because government's in it, so I will say that if you're going to have kids and you really think you're going to stay with her, then marriage is probably a good thing, because if you pass away, she would get everything, her and your kid, unless you willed it by some weird reasoning you gave it and passed it down to other people. But I'm okay, like, I lean on that. So I agree with Craven. If you want to have kids and you just want to be secured, you want to have the government involved, okay. But realistically, I really think it should be meant for the religious people. So that's kind of my take. We'll have an open dialogue in a minute. LJ, what do you think?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I think with watching a lot of videos in this era or this generation, I think the dating scene has changed a lot. And what I mean by that is a lot of people are not healed. They're just jumping into stuff, and a lot of people still carry hurt from past relationship traumas or um their upbringing, and since they never healed from it, speaking from experience, they take that into their relationships, which affects the relationship. And people don't really take the time to date and connect with the person. Like when people date nowadays, they just jump into the sex, and then that clouds like the judgment of seeing if that person is compatible for them, if that makes sense.
Okay, so I mean, is that your way of saying like you are all for dating for the modern generation?
I mean, I am for dating. I just think
Okay.
the people are not dating correctly, if that makes sense.
I would agree to that, actually.
Yeah, because like a lot of people are not like hurt people are hurt people. So if you haven't healed from the ex that you broke up with or your past relationships, then you go date. Especially when you don't know what you want, you're gonna hurt the person that actually wants you, stuff like that. And then as far as marriage, um, I'm for marriage. I just don't understand the government being having a say of how the assets are split or stuff like that, or basically putting their hand in the marriages.
Okay. So I just want to make sure I have it correct. So Craven,
That's
so
quick.
so you are all for you're all for dating. You're only for marriage when it comes to kids. LJ, you are for
Actual
dating.
dating.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I mean. So LJ, you are for dating, but you want them before marriage to kind of take their time. But when it comes to marriage, you're not really thrilled about the government kind of having its hand. So it kind of sounds to
Right.
me like you wouldn't mind marriage after a serious time period of dating. You're just kind of like me, as far as like you think that the government should be out of it.
Yeah, because like my marriage has nothing to do with the government. You know what I'm saying? So why is it like they have a say to what happens with my kids or stuff like that, and to where it mostly protects the other side rather than it being equal valued, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Are you kind of saying it benefits, just to make sure I'm understanding correctly, because I want to make sure that I am
Yeah, I
following
think
you.
it benefits the women more than it does men,
That's
especially when
exactly
it
what I
comes
was going to
to
ask. That's exactly what I was going
especially
to
when it
ask.
comes to like the divorce, like it mostly rules in favor of the women. That's why you see nowadays a lot of men are putting things either in their in their trust or in their mother's name, so that way they're not getting screwed over in the end.
Yeah, I mean it's true. To be honest with you, I never really gave my take on dating. I kind of just jumped to the marriage part. Dating to me, I don't know how you'd get to marriage without dating, because once again, I mean, if you're not really religious, but you're just looking to kind of find a life partner, I guess I can understand the dating scene. Nobody really wants to be, I guess, alone forever. But it's like you're saying, I'm always very, if it wasn't because I was religious, and, I do take my faith seriously and I have been working on it. If it wasn't because of that, I don't know if I would, if I really would ever advise living with somebody. Only because, like you said, the government has a way of always linking people together. So it's one of those things where, Andrew Wilson actually was talking or having a debate on this, and the guy he was debating was like, hey, you don't need to get married to live with each other. You can get married through the church, and then, if things don't work out, then the government can't come. They can't come for you. But Andrew Wilson, was stating that that's not, or I'm sorry, he was stating that no, that's not the case. Just because you're not married doesn't mean that the government can't come for you. Yeah, you can make an argument, but that's not always the case. And the sad reality is it's true. The government, if you've been living with somebody for a certain period of time, they might be actually able to come after you for certain things, especially if kids are involved. Because my biggest fear or concern, and back to LJ's part, the reason why I agree with him as far as like taking your time to actually get to know the person usually, is because you don't know if they're really there for you at first. At least if you're doing somewhat decent in your life, you don't know if they're there for you. It's like they could be there for your lifestyle. They could be there for all these other things. So it's kind of like, where would you go from there? And then most people tell you to vet for a year, but people can play a certain role for a year. Like I couldn't even see that being an issue.
And to connect basically what you said and what Craven said, a lot of people are just dating just because they don't want to be alone. Like I feel like that's the wrong reason. The reason to date. I feel like for you to date, you gotta be comfortable with being with yourself and with those thoughts. You know what I'm saying? To be able to fight those demons and then heal from all those traumas and stuff like that, and then go into the dating world with a clear mind, so that way you're not hurting. Like you know what you want, and you're not hurting the person that actually wants you or whatnot.
No, that's true. I can follow that. I mean, it's the dating place for me. I've been very back and forth. Obviously, before I got married and I met my wife, um, I was at a spot where it was just like, and obviously I'm coming from the guy's angle here, right? None of us are women. None of us have vaginas here, so we're not gonna know.
You might have one.
Keep it up, Craven. But I mean, we're all coming from the male lens, and to me, it's just like I've seen so many, just horror stories where the guys get really boned. They get used for their time. For even if you don't have much money, some of these girls will let you take them out on a date, waste your time 100%, and you're just wasting your money. You know what I mean? And it's like, you see so much of this in the world, and then you start realizing that a lot of these women want six-figure earners or guys that are making upper five figures. And it's like you kind of look at it like, you kind of start to feel like these women are gold diggers. And hey, nothing wrong with it. Go get what you want, right? But that's just what it started to look like. So to me, it's like a lot of them are chasing the upper tier of the male, percentage. And then it's like all of these other guys are paying for OnlyFans or going and watching all this other stuff. And dude, after seeing all this, I kind of just wanted to get out of the dating market. And that's what I call it, because obviously, depending on where you're at, you either have more value or less. And that's the truth. I hate to say it because I actually I jumped into a thing where they were praising this single mother and saying like, hey, she adds value. And then I started thinking, and I'm like, well, nobody said she didn't. It just depends on what context you're talking about. Like, she's a human being just like I'm a human being, so she's obviously it's not that she doesn't have value, but if you're talking about the dating place, that changes a lot. Like, we all agree to an extent about marriage. What do you guys think about guys going after single mothers? I mean, would you be okay with it? Would you advocate it? Would you say it's not ideal, or would you really not recommend it?
From my experience with a single mother, um, I wouldn't recommend it because with my experience, the father was never in the life, but the moment that he saw that if she was booed up, he wanted to be part of the kid's life again. So it was kind of weird. I, I feel like if it comes to different circumstances where the father is like passed, then that's a different story. But if the father is still very much around, then I would recommend it.
Okay. What about you, Craven?
Um, in general, I wouldn't recommend it. I would highly advise against it for most men. I think the only time where like, and obviously it's whoever's dating, who that's their decision. But at the same time, I wouldn't recommend it for most men. At the same time, the only time that I would probably, like in my mind, see it as fair is that if that guy is also coming into that relationship with kids, because you can't hold someone to a standard that you don't even have. Now, could he still want a woman that doesn't have kids? Sure, right? But I mean, you got to make this almost like dating's like a math problem to some extent, right? I know she's got kids, so I have kids, so we're kind of on even ground there. We both have kids from a different relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's fair, right?
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
same time, if you don't have kids, I would no, just don't. I know that's not what people want to hear, but the fact of the matter is you're doing double the work when they're not in your blood. Um, I know that people say, "Oh, it doesn't mean they're not your kid." Yak yak yak. But at any point in time, that father decides to turn around and say, "I want to be a part of my kid's life." It's one
Exactly.
as a man, how can you deny him that? Because if you were in the other situation, wouldn't you want that for yourself?
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
if
Obviously.
the kid's already 12, 13, it's like, of course, if he wants to be a part of his kid's life now, it's like, who are you to tell him no?
And that connection is always there too.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
then
that's fair.
and no offense, every time I see that kid, it's just gonna remind me that she was with another guy. She got
Yeah. No. I mean,
pregnant by
that's
another
that's
guy.
fair.
So
That's
it's
fair.
like that's the selfish reason, but at the same time, it's hell no. And I know this is, it's uncomfortable for most women to think about, but it just is what it is. You have to accept that.
If I'm being honest, and this
In a
is kind of hard, man, because
I I have
well,
one other
oh,
thing,
okay, go ahead.
but well, so if the only other time that I would be okay, go ahead with a single mother is if
Hey,
you have multiple, if that's not the only woman you're with.
That's crazy.
okay,
And I don't
I
mean
can see
cheating.
that.
I mean like if you have some poly whatever and you got three or four women and one of them has kids.
That's crazy.
At that point, it's like okay, you got three women. I mean,
Well,
That's
well, you're
I've
going
seen it.
into
I am seeing.
further than
I've already
monogamy,
seen.
my friend.
I don't even have the words for the things that's coming out your mouth right now.
Hey,
Say what?
hey, you
I
got to
don't even have,
Hold
remember,
on.
monogamy is only really for the religious. That doesn't, secular people, they if they don't believe in that, they can make the
There's a
case
lot.
for it.
There's plenty of logical reasons to have multiple wives. I hate to say it, but studying a lot of other cultures, especially from the child rearing aspect, especially in difficult environments. It's not, like I said, probably not something I would ever go for or ever try to, because you're just jeopardizing what you already have to try. Like, so I was thinking one day, but
Don't worry. Mrs.
eh,
Craven will see this later. Don't worry.
no, she can. I mean, I'll have this conversation in front of her, but nothing
Well,
to hide. But it's one of those things where it's like you're also playing with fire as a man by even getting into that kind of situations. But
I'll be
yeah, that
honest
that
with you.
that would
I
be the
don't.
only situation.
You see, this is one of those
Hmm?
things where it's a rock and a hard place for me because yeah, it's actually kind of ironic, right? Because God sent His Son to die for our sins, and Jesus Christ essentially is adopting all of us. We're not even biologically related. So, in all honesty, I struggle with this because I look at it. My worldly side
Yeah.
is like you're gonna raise another man's child, another man's seed. Like this is very, and I just don't have a better way to describe it other than like this is very beta behavior. Like you couldn't
Well, not
go
only that,
find a woman with no kids, no like to have a fresh start, and then a
well, I
lot of
mean,
things start come to my mind when I do see single mother. It's like okay, she's probably already got a set routine. She's probably very set in her ways, and then where's the dad? It's like, okay, if the dad's passed away or if the kids are like 17, 18 and they're pretty much out the door, then okay, maybe I could see making an exception or if they're close to it. But like, if the person you're getting ready to date, has kids, it's very hard because my worldly side is saying no. No, why would you do that? And then if she leaves you, you have no rights to the child. You're completely screwed. And then if
well,
you decide to stay with
That's the
her, then can you even discipline the child the way that you would if he or she was your own? Could you?
not only that, you owe child support too. You're married, and she has kids, and then you guys get married with her having kids, she can actually push child support on you for kids that aren't yours.
Yeah,
That's
I
that's
was
the
looking
other
at that. That's
aspect,
true. That's
and
100%
it's
true.
and it's like I said, I don't recommend I don't even recommend marriage for men that aren't looking to have kids. I
Dude,
don't because it's unfortunate because I'm actually pretty pro marriage. I think it's a wise thing. Like if the government wasn't a freaking part of it, but
under
it's
certain
the unfortunate truth.
circumstances, though, you said, or if the government wasn't in it and you didn't have a government marriage, period, you'd be okay with it no
Yeah,
matter what.
yeah. If I wasn't legally signing over, my well-being essentially to the woman, I would be 100% for marriage for a man,
Okay.
100%. But that's not the case. So I mean, in a perfect world too, you can have 9 wives and they all get along, and it's all good too, right? Let's not speak pie in the sky.
My,
We're talking about this as the actuality right now, unfortunately.
my friend, having a football team of wives, American women, I couldn't do it. Like if I wasn't religious and I was looking at okay, let's do multiple wives, I couldn't do it with American women. I could not. It is such a
You
pain
could
in the
barely have
ass.
one wife that's American, let alone.
It really dude it really is. And to be honest with you, it's you know I found my wife at a time where her walk with God was very big, which is why it worked out really well for us. But like I said, for worldly guys that believe in multiple wives or having multiple women, I could not see doing it here in America. At least not with American women. You know,
In terms of
definitely
like
not.
in terms of trying to make like a multiple American wife thing work, or like marriage in general.
Like if you could marry, let's just say you could marry 6 or 7 wives here in America, I wouldn't do it. I would
For
not do
American
it.
women,
Not
the
with
chances of
American women. Oh, absolutely not.
that's that's what I'm saying. It's just difficult to find one, let alone six.
Yeah,
that
no,
all, you know.
I couldn't do it. I mean, it's, and I hate to be stereotypical, right? But a lot of women nowadays, it's like this, and now I'm gonna get into some controversial stuff, okay? Because now I don't got to worry about the dogs. I separated them, so let's get into some of this controversial stuff. I couldn't have 6 to 7 American wives. The reason being, feminism has really seeped its
Yes.
way into women. A lot of them want to compete with you. A lot of them think that they're either physically superior to you or they want to run the household. And there's a lot of guys that aren't cool with that. You have guys that are like, "Hey, I'm doing decent in life. I've gotten to this point." You have guys that have set routines and they're like, "Look, I'm ready for a wife. I'm ready to have someone that's ready to fit into the picture and into the schedule." But what happens is a woman comes in, and if you're not paying attention to how she acts, these feminists act covert. You have a lot of feminists that are pretending to be traditional wives, and they're not. The minute you get married, they start coming out. And this has
That's
nothing
not
to do
really.
with my wife, so I don't want people to get that twisted. But this happens. This is one of the main things that the divorce rates are so high is because women are doing divorces at an 80% rate. They're the ones that are initiating. And a lot of times it's for what is that dang word? How do you pronounce
Irreconcilable,
Yeah.
irreconcilable differences. Yeah.
That's it. And this is why I
All
say
that means
it's
is you
more
can't get
for
along.
exactly, but this is why I say it should be more for religious people because religious people take it as a covenant. They don't just take it as I'm with you till I'm happy or I'm okay with going through a little bit of struggles. But feminism has taught women it's all about what makes you happy. And the minute they're not happy, a lot of them, they're like, I'm out of here. And it's like, yeah, of course, if I had a contract that benefited me 100% to leave and I'm not happy, why would I not get out of here? Why would I not leave? I take half your stuff and I get to live my life fine. Chances are you're going to be paying me alimony. If I have a child, you're going to be paying me child support. And depending on how much you make and how much alimony I'm taking from you, I don't got to work for the rest of my life. Maybe for some spending money, but that's a great deal. That's a great deal. So to me,
Mm.
it's like American women. I couldn't have 6 wives. I could not. If I was a worldly guy and they allowed you to marry up to 6, I doubt I'd even get to 2, even
I'm
3.
I'm there with this one. I'm there with this one.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna stick with an American woman,
See,
you kind of
hold
have to
on.
be, depending on who
Yeah,
you
yeah.
are. You know?
Well, legally you can't marry more
I'm
than one in the state
doing
then,
this
right?
one. I can't do more than one. That's a lot to juggle.
Well,
Yeah,
but
no,
that's
I'm not
why I
saying it's for the
say
weak of heart either.
that's why I make a very big distinction between American, because if you look at other cultures where they're not strongly feminized or they're not strong feminists, and they're a lot more what the old traditional feminine women were to be, you could make a couple of wives work if you were worldly and you didn't believe in monogamy. You absolutely could. If you're doing somewhat decent in your life, you could make that work. But with
Hmm.
American women, no.
No.
No. Half of them act like men. It's absolutely off putting. It's annoying. And then if you do get, you do get her pregnant and she has a kid, and then she is a hardcore feminist, who's going to be raising your kids? It ain't going to be you. It ain't going to be her because most likely she's a feminist. She wants to go into the work field. You're going to go into the work field. That means you're going to have to delegate raising your own kid. It's just to me it wouldn't be a win-win, and that's why if I was a worldly guy, dating would probably be as far as it got. I would probably never have married if I was a worldly guy. I would have probably just been like, look, as long as you don't give me an issue, you can stay. I don't really care. The minute you start becoming insufferable, peace.
Who?
It sucks to
No.
say because it sounds heartless, right? But it's like how
How
many
could you
of
be
these
so
women
hard?
are just fine with treating you like crap. Most of these feminist women hate men. They don't even like thinking of the fact that men run the infrastructure. Most of these feminist women will tell you men are trash. Men are
Yeah,
trash.
but
I don't need them financially. And then when you tell them that they're the ones running the infrastructure, they're like, I don't need a man. And they'll give you an even bigger glare.
as well too, I want to say let's not say this for other women because it's not other women. It's because there are good women out there.
Well, that's why I'm using the
Few and
keyword
far between.
feminist. And most feminists
But and
look
then
at men
too, a
like that.
lot of those that word that you said, they're just basically taking part from what being taught to them by like their favorite celebrities,
Well, I
and then they're
mean,
just running with that.
well, they could be where they're getting the information. That's a whole other story. But I make clear to say feminist because it's feminist women that really think that all of this runs by magic. Like I don't know how many times I've seen, a feminist say, I don't need a man. It's like, okay, who's running the electrical grid? Who's doing the plumbing? Who's doing the irrigation? When you're going to see a mechanic, 99.99% of them, who are
Yeah,
they?
a lot of.
You know, Men are still the ones running the infrastructure, giving us all this. And then when they talk about equality, they want to talk about equality for the corporate world. They don't want to talk about equality for bricklaying. They don't want to talk about equality for sewer work. All they care about is equality in office. So to me, it's like, why on God's green earth would I want multiple of that? I'm good. I, I am good, man. Monogamy, does wonders, for the soul when it comes to American women. But I'll be honest, I can tell you the plus sides of marriage. I'm sure Craven can too. You know,
Mm.
um, for me personally, my wife is actually very hardworking. I really do love her. We are obviously our first year of marriage has been fun. Let me tell you, man. Let me tell you. Well, because Craven can attest to this. Your first year, and LJ, you've been living with the missus for a little while too. You guys know this. When you first move in and start living together, man, is there an adjusting period. But there's definitely benefits, and I'll be honest with you. Marrying a Latina, whew, Craven, I feel for you.
I'm telling you. My life motto so far is live, laugh, Latinas. So
Yeah, oh man. Well,
it's
my wife is probably gonna watch
a
this. Like,
sickness.
yeah, right? Yeah, she's gonna watch this later and be like, "What did you mean by that?" Like God bless you. But no, in all honesty, man. Shut up, LJ. But in all honesty, man, I think, and here's the truth: the dating marketplace has taken a huge hit. I don't know if you guys are thinking, we're having an issue with marriages, we're having an issue with birth rates, and yeah, I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but alcohol sales are down by a lot, and a lot of people are starting to, oh hey, what's up, you? What's up? Hey, get down. I gotta keep you off of that. Okay. So, but a lot of people are saying that the reason why the alcohol sales are taking a hit is because the reason why alcohol would sell so much is because usually when guys would drink, a lot of guys are social drinkers, and a lot of guys are actually exiting the dating marketplace. For lack of better wording, I call it a marketplace. So if they're leaving, they have no reason to drink. A lot of guys are just playing games, watching porn, and that's pretty much it. They're receding from it. They don't even want to deal with it. So I mean, is there
I
anything
don't
you
know.
guys would do to kind of
I don't
fix
know.
that.
I don't know if you've seen this video on social media, but there's a girl. She posted like a event that was going on to meet like single men, and there was mostly women because none of the men showed up. And she was like, "Where are the men at?" And then there's this girl or woman who was an advocate for women. They're like, "Yeah, the men are no longer coming out for these things anymore because of now when they do try, it's like, oh, he's thirsty, he's getting his time
Hmm.
wasted, this, that, the third." And I could see the viewpoint from that because why would someone want to try to be with to try to be out there if that's the comments they're gonna get, or if
Hmm.
they do something they're getting nagged or they're losing their peace. Like once you start hitting like 25, 30s, a lot of men just want peace, bro. And if you can't
Mm.
provide that, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
No, I mean
No,
it's
I
true.
completely agree to that actually. And that's the thing. It's like as much as I'll get flack for saying this, I think everybody assumes, oh, I find a partner, we get married, and it's all good. But people don't realize like being a husband and being a wife is actually work, and it's a skill, and it's things that you should have been learning how to do since you were born. I think men growing up get a little harsher treatment of what it means to be a husband. Like I think they're told earlier, and their expectation is set from an early age. I'm not saying that a lot of men fulfill that to that nth degree, but it's a lot closer to the ideal than what women are in the West.
Yeah.
Because you hear it all the time. I
Even
don't cook, I don't clean, I don't this, and it's like that's a bad
yeah,
thing.
even
The fact
even
that you're saying
dating
that.
even dating though is is work because if you're not willing to put in the work to go on dates or just I think the thing with dating is people get too comfortable, and then when the partner starts calling them like holding them accountable, they don't like it. They don't like what they're hearing, so they go to their single friends and start venting, and then their single friends telling them stuff, and then boom,
Mm.
he gets tired of it and ends it, and then it's all she wrote.
Well, in all
But
honesty,
to
too,
that
though.
point too.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, that quoting, the original Godfather, the original Red Pillar. One of the best things Kevin Samuels always said. He said,
Oh, The
"Single women keep women
Godfather.
single." Single
Yeah,
women keep women single, and he was 100% accurate. And I can tell you anecdotally that I have seen that so much, just kind of being the fly on the wall and listening to women, listening to men, and single women keep women single.
You know, and
And to
and
some
if
extent, it's
mhm.
yeah. You go ahead.
and
Well,
that
I
will
was
really
gonna
happen with me
say.
because like
Mhm.
I would say like most of my buddies are single, but their perspective is not coming from a single person. It's like, yo, you, you're um, like if I tell them something, it's not like they quickly agree with me. It's like, did you do wrong? You know what I'm saying? They
Mhm.
check me before they be like, oh, this, that, the third. I feel like for a lot of other people, I mean, I'm sure some men have friends who don't hold them accountable too, but I think with the opposite gender, there are some girls depending on their friend group, um, their friends are not holding them accountable. It's like, oh, he ain't shit, you could do better, girl. And then the moment the shit gets sour, it's like you get that one friend that was telling you he wasn't shit. He's sleeping with the dude that she would say he wasn't shit. And then she talking about, oh, you had a good man, but you was playing this, that, the third.
You want to
Yeah.
hear
No,
another
I
that's
thing
seen,
that
I
I
seen,
think is
I,
very
I, I seen
controversial?
those videos. I seen those videos.
I'm gonna briefly take
women.
a step
Women don't
back
tell
real
each other the
quick,
truth.
and I'm gonna say because LJ was talking about dating earlier and how people get comfortable. Well, to me, it's like it's easy to get comfortable when you don't live with somebody. Most people that are dating don't typically date. So you show up for what, maybe an hour or two, depending on what happens. Then you go back home where
God
you can
damn.
take the mask off and then you do whatever it is you're going to do. But here's a controversial take that I actually have, and I don't know if you guys are gonna agree. I don't think men and women should be friends. I don't. Personally, I don't. And I even before I married.
Yes, with one exception.
Okay, well, let's hear it, Craven. Before I finish, what's your? Because it sounds like you agree
There's
with what you
one
said. One
caveat to that.
exception.
Yeah, there's one exception to that.
Okay.
If the man's not interested in sex with that woman, and
How
that's
would
a
you know
rare
that?
case. It usually means the guy's out of her league. The guy's an 8 and she's a 3. He has no interest in ever banging her. That's the only way that happens. And I'm telling you right now, that's probably 1 out of every 1,000 situations.
So
It's the one
technically,
caveat. It's the only.
you're
If
doing
he
what
has no interest in sleeping with her,
you're doing what women would do. Not all would do it, but
no. I'm saying it's an extremely rare case because
well,
most men
I
will,
know.
like, okay, if we're looking at it dating, let me give you my overview on the whole numbers
Oh man, we're
spectrum
getting
game.
a look into the Craven mind. Continue.
Yes, you're probably going to need some painkillers and psychedelic afterwards. But,
I already do.
okay, when you're the dating world, okay, this is one of the biggest reasons I think women fuck up. And that's because they assume that if a guy sleeps with them, that they'll date them. They assume that, for instance,
Yeah.
0 to
Yeah.
10, 0 to 10,
Mhm.
right? On a scale where 0 to 10 for men, 0 to 10 for women. Okay.
Mhm.
If you look at a woman, in a woman's eyes, if she'll bang you, she'll also date you. So if she'll fuck a 5, she'll date a 5 on the man scale,
Mhm.
right? A
Mhm.
man will date a 7, but they'll fuck a 2. So that's
Yeah.
that's the biggest issue you see. And it's the way men and women look at sex and relationships, and it's almost a 180. And that's most women don't understand that. Because if a woman will bang a guy, she'll usually date him or she'll give him a shot. It may not last, obviously, right? But
Yeah.
they assume because they're attracted enough to have sex that they're going to be attracted enough to date. That is the exact that's the almost parallel or perpendicular to what a man has. A man will bang a woman he has no interest in ever dating, and that's the problem. But in the caveat to which you're saying, right? The only way a man and a woman can be friends is if that guy has no interest in banging that woman.
Yeah, but you said that's
That's
a very rare
extremely rare.
exception. So to
Yeah,
me, you and I do the
that's like the
numbers.
popular guy in school.
So
That's like the varsity football player that has that one nerd friend in some math class that she's atrocious looking, but she's nice to him, and he obviously is nice to her because she's nice to him, but he has no interest in banging her.
I
It's just
mean,
nothing about her turns him on, and it happens every now and again, but it's extremely rare. I've seen it twice in my whole life.
I go with the probabilities, and you would agree the probability would be men and women really should not be friends. At least not if you're married,
Yeah,
not
100%.
if you're really
It's
dating for marriage.
99.9%.
And here's the
Yeah,
funny thing.
and
When I
it's
met my
never
wife,
up to the woman.
and
No offense.
when I met my wife, that was and this was no joke. I told her point blank, I'm not having any female friends. You're not having any male friends. If we're going to be together, you get rid of your male friends and then your single friends. Because I asked her, because I know single women keep women single. And I told her, if we ever got married, I said, here's the one thing I need to know. If you go to your single friend after we have a fight and she starts giving you advice on leaving me, going out to party, anything like this, I told her point blank, if I ever find out they gave you that advice, I'll tell you point blank, end that relationship. End it. I'm not going to keep people around because we took a vow and a covenant before God. This is for life. We need friends that are going to help us get through our situation, not friends that are going to tell us to run away from the covenant we took. And we both agreed to it. And that's the thing. It's like, even with single guy friends, like even with my buddies that are single, I know it depends on what place they are coming from mentally when it comes to dating. And most of the guys I know are married or they have a girlfriend. So a lot of them don't have negative views. Most of them You can ask them for advice. They're going to give you advice on how to stay in the relationship, how to fix it, give you different ideas.
Hmm.
But the reason
Yeah.
why I wasn't giving you advice, and I used to tell some of my friends that when it came to marriage, is because when I was single, I was seeing how a lot of the worldly women would operate. And to me, it's like, well, if you're not religious and you didn't really take a covenant to God, I was at that place where, like, hey, marriage ain't worth it. It's not. And I always used
But
to tell, because LJ, you know a friend that I'm talking about, I
yeah, yeah,
always used
yeah.
to tell him, don't ask me for advice because I knew where my head was at. And I would tell him, I'm not the person to ask. You've told me a lot more than what I probably should know. I have a negative view of the entire situation. My head is not in the
Well,
right place to give you advice. You know?
But too,
but
what you're
that's
saying correlates to everything we're saying. You remember how I was saying like basically dating and marriage they go hand to hand because if you're not healed enough to know what you want, what I mean by what you want is what you're looking from the other person and being able to set your standard and stuff like that, like
Mm-hmm.
boundaries and whatnot. Then you go into a marriage or a relationship without those things. There's no really core to back it up on because there's no the that what I just said. What I just said?
There's nothing to back up on when you haven't
Not not
healed.
not the standards, but there's no
Boundaries?
foundation and there's no boundaries. Yeah, there
Oh,
you go.
okay, yeah.
There's no boundaries for because now you're in a relationship that's boundaryless, if that's even a word. But
No,
it's
no,
like
it is.
you having it's like you bringing the dog home. I'm not saying this to come off the wrong way, but it's like,
Yeah,
um,
I know.
like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. But it's like, for instance, like, perfect example, like with my dogs, it's like, certain things they're not gonna do with me, and certain things they gonna do with my girl because they know they could get away with it with my girl. Because with me, I put different boundaries with them that if I'm here, you can't do these things. So if you go into a relationship, or before you get into a relationship and you're dating that person, you're letting these y'all getting to know each other and y'all setting y'all boundaries. The moment those boundaries get crossed while you're dating, it's like, yo, I told you these were my boundaries, and that's where we're at nowadays with the dating world. It's like, yo, I told you my boundaries, you overstep, this is not gonna work out for me anymore.
Hmm.
And that's where,
A lot of women
and
will
that's
call
what,
you insecure.
and that's what I'm starting to see, like on the social media trends, is like these dudes nowadays, they're not playing with the boundary stuff. Because I saw this clip. I don't know if it's true, real or not, but the dude pulled up, picked up the girl. She got in the car. He's like, "You look nice," or something like that. And she was like, "I bet you say that to all your little girlfriends or something like that." And he was like, "You know what? Get out.
yeah. There's a
Just get out."
contingency of like
Yeah,
10% of men that
yeah.
are
He's like,
not
just
playing with it anymore,
yeah,
which is
yeah. He's
fair.
like, yeah. He's like, just get out. And then she got out. He's like, and then he drove away.
Yeah. I mean, you
So
have to.
it's like if you setting those boundaries and you know what you want. Like I have a buddy of mine. He has set boundaries and he knows what he wants. And if it goes um up, like if those boundaries are not met,
Mhm.
he doesn't deal with it. It's cut off.
I mean, as it should be. My biggest issue with men today is they're such pansies when it comes to the dating world. They jump at the first woman that'll give them any attention, and I'm just like, dude, where the heck's your self respect? This is why, by the way, in my opinion, single mothers that really take care of themselves. This is why when they get so many dates, they're like, no, there's plenty of men out there. Well, yeah, there's plenty of guys that you're not interested that'll jump at you because let's be honest, there are single mothers that take great care of themselves. They look like they could be supermodels, but they come with kids, and they'll have 10 million guys talking to them, and some of them might just be only trying to sleep with her, of course. There's always that aspect. But there are always plenty of guys when it comes to any attractive woman that will be, and they'll know this. They'll look at the kid, they'll logically be like, this is not an ideal situation. I don't think I should go through with this. But man, she's the first woman giving me attention, and she actually looks damn fine. You know what? Let's just do it. And then before you know it, these women are wondering why they're not happy. A lot of times they get with these guys because they feel like they have no choice, or they stay single. And I get agitated with the guys because it's like, where's your standards?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm starting to applaud the male community in a way because I'm seeing them like we're actually starting to hold each other accountable when we're making those moves. It's like, bro, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like that's what they've been saying for a while.
But
That's what they've been saying they should be.
Yeah, but I'm seeing is coming across like social media platforms, whether they know the dude or not, especially those the people that take that goes around with the cameras taking the videos. Did you ever see that one video where when he went up to the dude and the girl and he was like, are you guys together? And she was like, no. And he's like,
I've
well,
seen plenty of those.
yeah. He's like, well, I thought we were together, but you know what? I appreciate you. And she's like, and he was like, it's funny we're together in private, but in public we're not together, or something like that.
Dude, I will see so many things when he just approaches random people on the street, where it's guys and girls walking around. And dude, that's why I have such an issue, because men and women, to a degree, they're both opportunists. So when a woman finds herself in a particular phase, or if she looks a certain way, she's going to be what you call, not gold digger per se, but she is going to look to get things for free. And not all. I'm going to clarify this because I know people are going to probably say, "Oh, look, he's completely doing all women." No, I do believe that there's a lot of women that take great care of themselves because they want to go on yachts, they want to be able to travel for free, and they'll find guys to do it. And they're opportunists. And then guys are the same way. Like, if there's a guy that's a 5 or a 4 and, he's not getting any attention, and this is why I can't stand guys sometimes, because they'll go pay a model to have them, message ourselves, like us. They'll pay somebody to message themselves, or they'll go ahead and get themselves in a situation that they knew they should not have been because they're taking advantage of an opportunity. But my biggest gripe is always going to be with the guys. Because OnlyFans models wouldn't be a big thing if guys weren't paying in. If they were to say, I'm not going to pay for OnlyFans, I'm not going to continue this behavior and stop, these women would be making no money. They'd be stopping what they're doing. But because guys are such pansies, if they don't get attention, they'll throw their entire life savings on an OnlyFans model. Some of these models are making $100,000 a month or more. Like, that goes to show you just how desperate men are really willing to get. And that's the reason why I'm so agitated with men. It's like, come on, guys. Like, you have more self-respect. Like, where's your self-respect in this, man? Like, you're going to let these people use you? And they're like, well, I'm providing a service. I'm giving them comfort. It's fake comfort. The minute they can't afford to pay your $500 a month, bye-bye. You know what I mean? Like, guys to me are pansies in today's day and age. The fact that OnlyFans models are even a profession, it's an absolute sad travesty. They shouldn't be. But anyways, Craven, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, why would you fund that, right? Because one of the biggest things with men right now in regards to OnlyFans models is that they're bitching about women being, 304s, but yet then they're funding them.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you know better. don't do this. But at the same time, I also think that the current legal climate has made them more profitable than they should be. Because realistically, no offense, porn, OnlyFans, how is that much different than a hooker? Legally, from just a pure concept perspective.
Yeah, you're still
How is an
paying.
OnlyFans model? You're still paying for a sexual content. Why? Because you're not touching a physical woman, which is, you could argue, is probably worse for the male psyche because there is no contact with a woman. So now you're getting further deviated from what sex is supposed to be,
Yeah,
theoretically, right?
many people have made that
But
argument.
the government, but the government makes prostitution illegal, which is something that you could be done in the privacy of a bedroom that no one else knows of, and that it's just two consenting adults, and then it goes about your merry day, and then you don't have this washed view of certain other things, right? But at the same time, it's like since that avenue's been pretty much nixed because of the government, now you have the rise of OnlyFans, and it was porn before that, which is practically the same fucking thing.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I mean, all it is corrupting society. It's just a degeneracy. Everybody's in, every guy obviously partakes to some extent, but it's one of those things where you know better as a
Yeah,
man. Why are you funding it? At the same time, to your point earlier, I mean, yeah, there are a lot of guys that simp for these women, but the problem is with that, it's like no one told you back in the day. It's like that woman you case, you're one of 30, 40, more to some extent, depending on how good looking she is. You have to be realistic with yourself as a man as to what you can actually pull,
yeah,
right? You may want to be with a 10 for the rest of your life, but the 10's going to cause you so much problems that the 7's actually a better wife.
yeah. No, it's true. And guys, I'll be honest with you, and I'm actually going to share something with you guys. I don't know if I ever did, but I actually dated a girl with a kid. It was weird.
I remember that.
It was really
Yeah.
weird.
Actually,
She was very attractive, very pretty.
You
Was
ain't never
the
tell me
only.
this shit.
Well,
hold on,
it may have been
time out.
before you, or oh, what happened?
You still ain't never told me
There,
this
there.
shit. And we used to be waiting till the
Hold on. Before he gets into his telenovela, there's another person that wants to weigh in on the old OnlyFans crisis.
And in the meantime, a quick word from our sponsors. I'm waiting for the $7,000. And we're back to the paid program. Shut
What's
up,
going on?
LJ. That was funny.
Hello,
Well,
hello.
hey.
hello.
So we use code names. So I'm going to call you Mrs. Craven. But we were talking about the degeneracy of OnlyFans, and that guys have become so pathetic that these OnlyFans people are making millions of dollars, and I'm actually calling the men simps and actual sissies for doing this.
Whoa,
And
whoa.
Craven actually said, "Hey, I know somebody who wants to weigh in here," so that's where I'm going to leave the floor to you.
I mean, how explicit can we get in this
Just go
podcast? I
crazy.
mean,
Go
OnlyFans,
crazy.
honestly,
Go crazy. Like, seriously,
I
we
don't know what
want
you
to hold
guys'
back.
intake was on it.
I find OnlyFans
I don't care if you hold
disgusting.
back or not.
Nope, go ahead.
Well, it was made for the little lonely losers who have nothing better to do instead of going out to go meet a woman, go meet a live person instead of just paying for all these things to see with them. And then not only that, for the women that do it as well, they're also just as stupid as the men that pay for it. Okay? Putting yourself out there, and then I've seen a bunch of podcasts that has seen
Hmm.
women bitching 100% losers.
Hmm.
As well as the girls, which are the girls that also like to bitch and moan about, oh, I'm a person too. I'm not just a piece of me. Well, how about you don't dress like one, you don't act like one, and you don't put yourself out there like one?
Well, what about those porn stars that are now coming out? They're having kids, and they're like, please erase the content. I have kids now. I don't want them to have
What?
to deal with the consequences.
That's the thing. We did not think about that before the money.
Do you know how
Exactly.
many of
Didn't
these
you think
women are
about that
probably
before
told?
spreading your leg?
I ain't say that, but
You know exactly, but you don't need to say it. You know, we got others that'll say it, but I mean, it's true. It's 100% true, and it's like now these kids are gonna have to deal with it, and some of these kids have been bullied. Like it's gotten bad,
Yeah.
and some of these OnlyFans women are like, well, I'm doing this to put my kids through school, and then when the kids are getting bullied, they're like, I don't understand it. I'm providing a service. I'm like, of course you understand it. You know what you're
I
doing.
would, in a way, I would understand it if they never showed their face.
Right.
I
Because
mean,
there
they
are
might be
ways,
able to get away with it if they didn't show their
yeah.
face.
I mean, if you don't show your face and you don't put your name on it, you could definitely get away with it. But if you're showing everything, then how do you not expect it to come back to you?
No, I
Yep.
mean that's true,
Yep.
but it's probably because
Same
it
thing
hurts
for
business.
strippers.
It's probably because it hurts business because a lot of times guys are very visual. So I mean, yeah, you could see a body and be like, ooh,
The
but
people
you're
that's
always gonna
paying
want
for
to see the face. You'll just go to
the
someone who
people
can see
that's
everything.
paying, but the people that's paying for these things, I'm pretty sure they don't care about the face.
They may or may not. Who
No, they
knows?
care about whatever it is they're paying. They could
Well,
also be husbands that,
mhm.
want just some freaking attention instead of creating a different lifestyle then, or be a little bit different in your marriage instead of going towards that route
You know,
and then
if
getting caught for it.
if there
I
wasn't
say
a lot of
I say
OnlyFans, I would say
I
then yes. But if you have options and you're gonna pay, you're gonna go for what you want. So would you go with the person who's covering their face, or would you go for the one that's showing everything that may be of equal attraction? You
I,
know.
I say that because of the people who be buying the foot pictures.
Oh man, I don't even
They
get
don't
me
be
started on
Oh,
that
yeah,
foolishness.
yeah.
they don't be showing their face. At least I don't think.
You know, I'm gonna start taking some foot pictures. Gonna, you know what I mean?
You might get money, to be honest. I mean, people be paying for
Hey,
stupid crap.
I'm just gonna say it's a chubby girl's feet, and let's see what
I heard
happens.
one. I heard one from a relative of mine. That somebody's doing it, and they're just like clipping their nails or filing nails and getting paid for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People pay for the craziest stuff,
Yeah,
so
but
they definitely don't have to show their face.
that actually goes to show you just how big of losers guys are. Like they're
'Cause
paying for feet.
I would not
And
pay
let's
for.
not just say guys neither.
Well,
There could be a bunch of women, he, she's,
maybe
it's,
women.
theys, aliens, whatever, whoever, whatever they like to be called
Well,
nowadays.
with how crazy men and women are getting, yes, we can throw women in there. But I'm always going to really be harder on the guys because it's like, guys, you're supposed to have better self-control than this. Like you're making these women rich for just showing feet pic. Like, come on. At some point, this gets kind of ridiculous. But no, I mean you're right. My issue with the whole OnlyFans thing, because here's my thing. Okay, you know, and like I was saying before, I got into or before Craven swapped out for Mrs. Craven. You know, I dated a woman that had a kid at one point, and the only reason why I considered it at the time, she was really good looking, but it was weird. It was really weird because it's like when you would talk on the phone, there's a kid in the background. And she's answering the kid, and then she wants you to act like you're the father of the kid, and you've only been around a couple of weeks. And then I started seeing Fresh and Fit at the time. And then Fresh and Fit, well, if anybody's seen them, Fresh talks about how he used to be a stepdad. And then Kevin Samuels talks about how he used to be in that situation. And then he went into details as to how you get screwed in these situations. And then I started thinking, I'm like, I don't really know if this is what I want. Like, I don't think it is. Because at the end of the day, those are some very scary thoughts. I mean, what if you actually form a bond with the little guy, and then next thing you know, she leaves you, and now all of a sudden, you got no rights. You have no rights. I'm more worried about getting the bond with the little one and then never being able to see him again because that's a bond that's going to be broken and you have no say versus alimony or child support because I am smart enough to know that is always a possibility and risk when you got in there. And then when I started hearing you may not
That
be
is
able
true.
to discipline the little one like you want, that to me was like, okay, I'm not, I don't want it. I don't want it anymore because it's like, okay, if this kid, it's either going to be one of two things. Maybe you can discipline them and you take that you roll them dice and it works out. But maybe you roll them dice and now you're having to fight and argue and not even able to discipline while this kid disrespects you all the time. And then you got to hope that the mother's willing to do it because if you can't do it, then that means it's all on her. And if she doesn't enforce anything, now your authority and your rules go out the window. And to me, that is
That's
not
true.
something I will ever risk. Like, if this is my home, this is my home. You obey my rules. That's how it is. You don't like it, you can get the hell out. Now, you see, that's why I love my wife. We got married. She's an amazing woman. And, for the most part, she does organize and say what happens in the home because she's the one that designates everything. I don't have anything to do with where things go. Why would I care? I'm a guy. Like, organize it how you want. You think I care if we have a beautiful carpet or not? Do you think I care what kind of curtains you get? I don't care. So that was our agreement.
Listen, I gotta put a time on that one there. Coming from a
Ooh.
wife that's also being supported as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
tell
Um,
him.
bring it.
I
Tell him it's crazy.
Go ahead, please. Spit.
it's not that I want to make him feel the way that you do about it. It's about having him come home to a beautiful home, coming from a stress environment from work already, having a shitty day, having a shitty everything. I want to implement his likes as well into his home because he's
That
the one paying for the home.
that's why
He's
we
the
have
one
the
doing
office.
everything. So I do. No, 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 no. Because he's the one that supports the whole home, right? You're not the one. You're not only supporting that room. You're supporting the whole household as well as your wife.
Yeah, I mean it's
The whole
true.
home is you guys' home. So not only should she put her likes, but you should put yours as well. So when you come home, you both have this home that you created, this space that you created for the both of you. And then yeah, your room or your office is
Hmm.
yours, your domain. How I have for mine, he has the bigger room in the whole house because he needs that space. He needs that time to himself.
I
There
saw
is
that.
this no everyday BS and oh, we're married, we should be together forever. Fuck that. Okay?
You
A
know
man,
what?
especially when he comes home from a stress environment, yes, you come home to a beautiful home, you get to breathe. And then on top of that, walk to your office that's your domain.
Yeah, you have talked me into it. I'm gonna take the big bedroom now. I'm gonna put that as my office. My wife is gonna come home one day, and our bed is gonna be in the smallest room in the house, and I'm gonna be
See,
like,
that's where you messed up. If you don't agree to it, then that's your problem. That's not my
no, no,
idea.
I'm sending her your way.
My goal,
Uh,
my goal as a wife is he's supporting his whole family. He's the one that is working more and bringing and letting us giving us this home. I'm gonna make it beautiful. I'm gonna make it to what he likes and what I like in our home, our adventures that we've had together, that we're going to still have together. Come home to just breathe and finally be at peace out of everything going on outside of these doors. That's what his home should feel like a kingdom, his kingdom.
I think you need to talk to my wife more.
Hey,
You
mine too.
know,
Mine too. I,
you know what I mean? Like, well, here's the thing. I
we
actually
should just get them
agreed.
on here real quick.
I
Be
actually
like,
agreed though
you need to hear this.
before I married my loving wife. I actually really don't care how the home looks. Now I know you guys might be different. You might just be like, hey, I want you to have a say because maybe having more of your stuff or more of your taste will make you feel a little less stressed. Because to be honest, I might be that stereotypical guy that likes to have my office look like a cigar lounge, like Craven. I actually got a little jealous because the furniture that he has is the style that I like. And I was just like, when I saw it, I'm like, that son of a. And then he's got the big room too. So when I went over there, I'm like, dude, I could do jumping jacks in here and have room to spare. I'm like, what is going on here? So, of course, I can't let him outdo me to that extent. So I'm going to go spend $800 on a desk just to say it's beautiful. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. But that's actually, I like that style of desks. I like the style that he has because I've always liked that. That's one thing, like, my wife was telling me. She's like, of course you like that style. Every guy wants their home to look like a cigar lounge. And I'm just like, what's wrong with that? I'm not smoking. It just has class.
I mean, you know, honestly, it's a Puerto Rican thing, but, you know, for my opinion.
It could be. it could be. But it's just like that. But that's the thing that I agreed with her. I really didn't care how the home looked. But the office, I wanted the office to be 100% mine. I didn't want.
Here's another key to add to that, though. It's also, if you're saying, I hear you saying like stress, that she's stressed about making it good, making it nice, and you're saying that you don't care. What we want you to care also is because when you invite your friends and everybody over, like you've seen our game nights, our everything, it is nice to have your home look good and you be well represented.
That's true. That's true. That's why, and you know what I told my wife for
the
marriage? You know what I told my wife for the marriage to go 100% smooth? I said, we will never have an issue in our marriage if you would just do everything I tell you when I tell you and worship the ground I walk on.
Oh, Lord.
I think that's fair.
Absolutely not.
I think it's 100% fair. You know? My wife is going to see this and she's going to give me the look like, oh, really? Yeah. You know, I told that to her dad when he came down here. He was like, how's the marriage going? And I'm like, you know, she's not doing what I ask her to do when I tell her to do it. And I keep telling her, our marriage is going to go so smooth if she just does. You know?
Surprised she doesn't smack you around a little bit.
He started cracking up. Her dad was like, amen, brother. Amen.
He's like, boy, you just dug yourself a hole.
You know, but
that's why he was laughing.
Well, that's why he was. That was just us talking because you know, I told my wife, I told him that, and he started laughing, and then when she found out his reaction, she started laughing too. But no, I mean, these are things where I think Mrs. Craven has a point. You know, maybe I might start looking a little bit more at the detail. I've never been big on decorating, and maybe it's because I've never really had a bunch of things to decorate. I mean, this is probably the most, you see the swords? That's probably the most decorations I've ever done in my life.
Hey, in time, you will get there. Remember, Craven, we have 16 years under our belt compared to your one.
Yeah, that's true. You guys are old farts.
He didn't get this all in one shot. This took time. This took a lot of jobs and work. He finished school. You know, this took years to get together.
That's true. And I always give him a hard time for the bachelor's degree he got. You know I have to. But no, I mean it's a reality. We've already come very far in a small period. You know, we've been very fortunate. And maybe there is going to come a point where I am going to really start caring about decorating, because if you were here and you saw what I have on top of the laptop, you'd probably laugh. I have my figures. I have my little Star Wars stuff. I have the One Piece, Naruto, and Dragon Ball Z little poster here. And I'm going to work on that thing next, that horrific...
Why, I wouldn't laugh. I still have to put up my figures.
You know,
I have my fairy tale and my Star Trek.
You're an anime fan. I always talk to visionaries. LJ, I don't think is, so he doesn't understand the brilliance of what you're bringing to the table. Ain't that right, LJ?
Oh,
But no, I don't want to get too off the topic. And I do agree with you. I think my wife should talk to you more. LJ said the same, so we're gonna set that up. Are you free tomorrow at 5?
You try to
Tomorrow
get
at 5.
Tomorrow at 5,
you,
Discord time. I'll be there. I'll sit right there next to her.
that boy try to get in the doghouse.
I'm gonna force her
Are
to
you
watch
asking me
this
if I'm
entire
available?
thing. Absolutely, she needs to sit down and hear these brilliant words.
I will see you sleeping in the patio for 2 weeks.
Oh, anyways, I'm
He's
just
probably
kidding.
going to message me going, I can't believe you said those
Yeah.
things.
You're not even gonna be under couch. You're gonna be in the patio, my boy, next to that pool.
Yeah, I give her such a hard time. It's great. She knows that's how I show her love. But
Shit.
I think we're probably getting to the time to conclude the podcast. Mrs. Craven, is there anything you wanted to add? I mean, we were talking about marriage, dating. Is it worth it from a secular angle, or is it just worth it from a religious point of view? Is there anything you'd like to share on that?
I'd like to share a lot of things about that, but unfortunately, our time is up.
All right. All right.
Continue. What'd you say tomorrow, 5 p.m.? Okay.
All right. You know what? I might hold you to that. All right. I'm going to talk to my wife and be
No.
like, look, at 5 o'clock, we have a meeting with a wedding therapist, and I think it's a
What
good
the?
idea for us to sit down. We're trying to make this work. Even though it's going fantastic, I can always add a little bit of cream on the cake. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to tell. I'm not even going to tell her who. Then when you jump on, and she's
And
like, "Are you kidding me?"
we gonna get a text from Ben talking about, do you have an open room?
You gotta get a text
To be
from
fair,
me.
out of the bunch of us, yeah, me and Craven are in our marriage are way older than all of you guys. Well, I don't know LJ, but
No, I'm not even there yet to y'all
oh,
level.
oh, okay, he's too young for that.
Yeah.
I'm what, Ben's only what, 4 years older than me?
Yeah, I mean, he's still in his diapers. I just got out of diapers, so he's got time. He's
So to
got
be
time.
honest with your back pain,
Excuse you, what back pain? Ain't no back pain here.
You still in diapers. You just got the elderly diapers down.
yeah, the elderly one.
You keep it up,
Yeah.
LJ. I feel another gust coming.
Yeah, did I tell you how this guy almost killed me? This guy, this
I
guy.
didn't, I didn't almost kill him. There was a strong gust that attacked me when I was
Yeah.
driving,
So
and that
so
car
we,
swerved.
so we're driving. I fell asleep. I fell asleep. All I felt was the car zook left, right, real quick. I bust the fuck in my eyes. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
He, he believed me for a split second. I'm like, dude, it was a gust of wind. I don't know what happened. And he's looking at me like, and then he's like, you tried to kill me.
You know he
I
did.
never see.
I believe LJ. You try to kill him.
I
I'm
would
saying.
never. I would never do
This is
that.
why I don't go in cars with Puerto Ricans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you married one and he drives you
He's
everywhere.
half Irish. He's half Irish.
Ooh, so he's a
Yeah,
half
Ben, get it
slow.
right.
Ooh.
Ooh, he's digging on you now,
I always
Mr.
do.
Craven. Wow. That's my cue to bounce out and put Mr. Craven back on.
All right. Well, we're gonna be ending real soon, so I'll get them back to you.
Yeah, like that. That's a story I'm gonna tell for years to come, bro.
Yeah, bro,
It's always funny.
but that gust was strong. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyways, so I'm getting ready to end the show. Is there anything you guys wanted to say as final
What?
words?
No, we said everything. I think. Well, I said everything.
All right. What about you, Craven?
Yeah. I mean, I missed a good chunk of the last part because he was talking, but it's all good. I
Well,
don't really have anything. I mean, it's more of the same, honestly.
Well, I mean, I guess the last thing that I would say is when it comes to dating, in general, I hope things turn around. I feel like men and women have been taught to really go against each other, and it's actually very sad if you think about it. Um, we really should be working together. We're designed for it. And so when I see how guys are acting these days and how women are, something went very wrong. So hopefully, when it comes to dating and marriage, we'll start seeing at least an increase in the dating marketplace, and we'll start seeing an increase and men and women actually come together to work together because, dude, they've done a lot to destroy the family unit, and I don't know how we turn around from here. So,
Says,
with that being said, those are kind of my final thoughts. So, if you guys are all set, we're going to end there. Everybody, thank you for showing up. Those who watch this, please, if you have differing opinions, share them. We will definitely get back to you. Either me, Craven, or LJ will definitely respond. Anyways, like I say, do a Crusade cast out.